back here live on the Dukect Lounge. Thank you so much for joining me. And well, and if you want to join in the conversation and all that good stuff, and connect to B Dukect, the phone number is let's see one more. The phone number, as always, is 605-562-0444. Once again, the number is 605-562-0444. And the call ID to connect to me, Dukect, is 92417. Once again, the number is 92417. And if you just want to use the internet, bam, just go in and we have a headset, microphone, bada bing, bada boom, you're done. Don't have to worry about that. And if not, you can always be in the chat room, always on lock, always there. There it is. Boom. All right. And here we are. And well, ladies and gentlemen, let's see. Let's get into the serious stuff. Let's get into the this is gonna be fun. A fun topic here. Fun topic because that last one was a bit of a beefer, but honestly. But yeah, but this one I think is a lot more serious because right here in the Los Angeles Times, this was the one that actually wanted. I saw this one, and I was looking for stories to talk about tonight, and I was feeling maybe I shouldn't. This the Impact one I saw, that was one that I was talking about, but this was right here. I would say, okay, I'm gonna tough through it. This article here, this came out 2 days ago. This here, it's really pissed me out. This thing is surprising but not surprising. It says, this article of Los Angeles Times, which will be in the description, the video portions of this. It says, last October, this is an article by James McCutcheon. Last October, software developers at Riot Games in Santa Monica filled an unusual request, as with other video game makers. It says, the global hit League of Legends, they want to make a usual request from their game Chinese tech giant that owns Riot, Tencent. They needed a way to force some of its most enthusiastic customers to play less. And some would say, hey, this seems not a bad idea. Hey, you want to make sure that the younger demographic or something, kids who are looking to these roles, getting, to say, regulate the role of a supposed video game addiction, all this type of stuff is they wanted to say, okay, we need to get these kids out of it. Like, hey, 2 hours and then locked again. I'm like, you know what? That's okay. But it seems there's a lot more a lot more stuff to get into it. That is the scary part of it. And, that's one of the scary parts here. It says when you look at the article and such, Tencent has been supposedly hands off when it comes to company's product, but supposedly with China state media regulators and such getting into it, they wanted to make sure they wanted to track how many time individual gamers in China spent playing League of Legends, kick out minors who exceed 2 hours per day. And if the Riot engineers didn't supply it, well, they would say they lose access to the entire Chinese market altogether. And then a couple weeks later, boom, they got the update to the Chinese version of League of Legends. And over the last year, one game company after another has quietly accepted to Chinese government demands to limit the amount of time young people spend on their games, like League of Legends, Fortnite, World of Warcraft, and they say these younger games, younger people, I'm like, someone said that's not a bad idea. You don't want kids to be, spending more majority of times playing these games. So, like I said, but there's something else here. It says right here, it says, this paragraph right here, it says, although it's Chinese policy driving the restrictions, data privacy, advocates say that for Americans to participate in this creation of these tools represents the crossing of a concerning new threshold. They view these moves as part of a problematic trend of Western technology firms redesigning their services to create China-friendly versions aligned with their country's tighter social controls. This is Mike Erickson, who was interviewed and such from the Digital Privacy Alliance. For American companies, it really comes down to deciding whether or not you are willing to participate in this type of surveillance. If they do choose to take part, it makes these companies not unwilling, but full-blown accomplices in the Chinese police state. And well, China's censorship, this is not really new. China has been carrying type of these, putting these type of blocks and these type of cuts and this type of you know Chinese censorship and such. I mean, look at movies, for example. Ghostbusters 2016. If you hate the movie, like the movie, whatever, that was heavily censored in China. In fact, not even they can't even show the movie in China because of like Ghost and such like that. That right there is a situation, and that's true. The Walking Dead pin in the chat says the problem is that China is too big to ignore, and they are the largest second. They are the one of the biggest, second biggest, other than the United States, to consume content. They are, and they make rules. And people, I looked and said, "Oh my gosh," about China, about all this stuff about Marvel's gonna do all these gay. I'm like, they are not gonna do any LGBT content because China does not like that stuff in their media and such. So unless Marvel and Disney are gonna take the L on that, they're not gonna sit there and say no, we're not gonna do it. Bottom line, they're not gonna put that stuff content there. They'll say, oh, they're gonna. I'm like, do you know how much money China makes in the MCU? They're like Love and Thunder. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be great. Jane Foster is gonna be gay. I'm like, no, she ain't. She ain't gonna fall in love with Valkyrie. That ain't gonna happen. They're gonna probably have a fist bump. That's it. They ain't gonna kiss, because that means see you later, China. That means they are not gonna do that. Or change something. I'll just re-edit the movie for China. So that's not gonna be the thing. That's not gonna happen at all, boys and girls. And by Walking Dead, if you want to come in, just plug your headset and mic. You want to get into the conversation, just push the internet option. Boom, you can get on there and such. But yeah, it's crazy, and such. And it's not even it's not really new as well. You have Google and IBM are working with working with China, an authoritarian government. Includes massive violence against the citizens, and basically doing all that like social capital and such. It's downright disturbing, but not surprising, as China is not people think Hong Kong is free, but no, it's not. It's China. It's much more of authoritarian state that you more authoritarian country and state than you realize, and it is so hard, and and people are like, and I look when going off topic here a little bit. It's like when I see China going to Africa and trying to introduce these type of ideas and these type of trying to do the same, trying to be basically colonize the new version of colonize, and I'm like, that's what I worry about, is that they're taking these type of like toxic and horrible ideas, authoritarianism, and just putting it in these like in another country, another race of people and such. And by the way, by the way, if you want to say, oh well, China, they're not look what they do to their own minorities sometimes, and read the books there. It will really shake you to your core. And here's the thing: is the open here it is when they this other article, it says as Septarian, Google, Xanax, these other companies who are helping, who are a big deal in China, they did not respond to requests for comment and such. It says the Open Power Foundation said in a statement that it does not become involved or seek to be informed about the individual business strategies or goals or activities of its members. Yeah, put that meme. I might just put that meme right there and such a, but that's a fucking lie, because they don't. That's just poor response right there. Deep down, we know that's gonna, deep down we know that's just that's just right there. But yeah, it's just like, quote, due to antitrust and corporate competition laws, and Andy Stroson said that his company has not worked with Septarian on joint technology development, but declined, they have worked through, it says the spokesman of the Septarian operation said that Septarian had worked with IBM through collaborative cloud platform called Supervessel, which is main obtained by IBM research unit in China, of course. So yeah, yeah. It's not really surprising. Oh, we got someone here. I think this is Walking Dead.
There we go. That was weird.
Well, that's what it is. What's up,
Walking? Nothing much. For some reason, it wouldn't let me join until I turned my VPN on. Like, I had it off, it wouldn't let me join, but when I turned it on and set it to another country, it let me in.
Spooky. But anyway, you heard most of this stuff here about Tencent, how China is basically using corporations and stuff, other communications to basically monitor China, basically making it more and more of a police state. And now it's just it just seems to be getting, it's funny how this thing is just escalating now.
Yeah, the problem with China is that they've basically always had the largest population on Earth. Outside of like when, say, Britain ruled basically half the planet. And as such, they basically always had to be an authoritarian state as a means of controlling such a large population.
And even worse, they use control in other ways. I mean, they pretty much for the longest time, and I'm see if I can find the data here, they banned Christianity, I believe, until recently.
They've banned most religions. They're cracking down on the Uyghur Muslims out in the far west part of China. Like, if you heard the stories about that, where they were basically putting them in camps, forcing them to eat pork and all that shit.
Yeah, and that's just it's just it's just it looks like right, and you see supposedly they are right here, supposedly in the Washington Post. Let's see if I can read this thing without supposedly crap, I can't read that because of course I don't. Maybe I just need to all right, let me just find a way to read it. I don't know. I'll just go in archive. But yeah, it's just right here. Writer crackdowns on religion and using the state to basically shut that down. It's not surprising, actually. It's not really surprising to see these type of let's see, put this here. Search archive websites. Put this up. And let's see where it is. Boom. And there it is. I can just put thank you archive.com. I'll put the archive one up here. So, okay, or whatever.
Yeah, it's not just Christianity they crack down on. They don't even fucking the Buddhists out in Tibet. This is a fun fact. According to Chinese state law, you actually can't reincarnate unless you have state permission. I mean, I'm not joking. That is a real law they have on the books, or had. I don't know if it's since been rescinded.
Oh yeah, it's not. I'm not really surprised because again, it's the power of the state and such. It is so, it's so like, it's scary, but not, I'm not really surprised by all of this because once again, it's just that they are just they're so afraid and so afraid of of doing these type of things. It's terrifying to them, but at the end of the day, it's just I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by it.
And then you got the automatic censors and shit. Like if someone is in a game, if you're playing an online game and someone Chinese starts coming in, literally, if you just bring up the Tiananmen Square massacre, they immediately disconnect because the Great Firewall kicked in.
Yeah.
Like I'm not kidding. I know people who have done this and gotten people banned and probably killed.
Yeah, and they are supposedly all 5 religions, supposedly Buddhism, Catholicism, Deism, Islam, and Protestantism are officially tolerated. And this is going to the article, which I finally unlocked and everything.
And massive fucking air quotes.
Yeah, and but they are now experiencing draconian treatment from the government of President Xi Jinping, aka the guy who looks like Winnie the Pooh. Xi Jinping, aka the dude who looks like Winnie the Pooh. But he is supposedly spoken nationalism and pro-loyalty to Communist Party. This is back last year, by the way. It is supposedly to all this stuff, and it's connected to what's going on right now in Hong Kong with all these protesters and attacking people. They don't want to stomp out all these like Western thinking. They don't want to have
basically
that type of...
what's going down in Hong Kong is that back in 97, China received the rights to the area back from the British on the Previso. That Hong Kong, as well as Macau, which they got from Portugal around the same time, got to be their own independent special region where they'd set their own laws for 50 years, which is supposed to go up until 2047. Notice how that's 30 years from now. And yet China's already cracking down and ensuring that that's not going to happen, because they know that the Communist Party of China, as one unified state, is not going to be around in 30 years when they have fucking a port of capitalism like Hong Kong and the fucking Las Vegas of the West like Macau right there.
Oh yeah, and it's just, and it's right now, it's now that supposedly, according to the New York Times, they're basically want to bring in military troops just to quell those supposed protests and such.
Yep.
And
you want to know the funniest part about Chinese communism, though?
What?
Chairman Mao was never supposed to be the leader. He was like some random lackey, but the problem was a good chunk of the high command got wiped out during a freak disaster during the Chinese Civil War when they were in retreat. And since he was the highest ranking member, he rose to power. That's literally the only reason. It's because everyone else died. They knew he'd be that bad.
Well, yeah, and it's just that. And now it seems to be, when you look at these type of stories from, Google doing what it's doing. Now you have these video game makers basically going to these, cutting people down, trying to track what people are doing, and, all these things. And not only that, but, the stories of like, if you have like that high social rank, you know what I'm talking about, right? If you don't have that high
shit straight out of Black Mirror.
Or just, Outer Limits, or, if you want to go old school, maybe even the Twilight Zone and such. But it's to that point of that type of social capital of like, I mean, just I'm, when you look at that type of, just that, when you look at that type of, that type of just hemorrhaging and everything, I'm worried because, again, people will look at Russia, all the stuff Russia. I'm like, y'all don't realize what China's doing. Y'all don't know what they're doing. And they're, again, they don't talk about it because they, the entertainment medium and all the stuff, the media and stuff, they realize they know where their bread is buttered. They know where their bread is buttered. They're not going to go and upset the China apple cart. They're not going to upset them, because if they upset them, well, say goodbye to the majority of the, their cash flow, because if that's gone, let's just say Hollywood will be collapsing much quicker than it already is.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah,
10 years. This is probably going to be the most interesting decade of political upheaval in probably 100 years, since like the fascists and the communists and the anarchists back in the 1910s.
But then, that's brought World War I, and then its lovely sequel, and then all the other stuff that's happened.
Oh yeah, no, if I'm still alive in 20 years' time with no major war under my belt, I'll actually be impressed.
Yeah, I hope as well. But man, there are a lot of people flirting with this stuff, flirting with disaster. They're flirting with all this type of just this all this type of meeting stuff. But I do, look at the financial stuff. Supposedly, China's stuff is not really that stable, and I'm like worried of the opposite. What if China like says, does like what America went through, but worse, like the whole recession and crash and such. And they
China's fucking economy is basically all smoke and mirrors at this point. Like, there was a video I watched on the Chinese real estate market. I forget who did it, but he basically said,
I think maybe Black Pigeon Speaks. I don't know.
It wasn't Black Pigeon Speaks. It was a YouTube video essayist, like a real life lore. No, it wasn't him. Who was it? I know it wasn't Black Pigeon Speaks. Or it wasn't anyone political, actually. He mainly focused on business shit. But basically, the Chinese economy is all smoke and mirrors.
Was it Invest with Seven Carlin?
No, let me see if I can find it on YouTube.
Oh, some
I'll know it when I see it, because he was one of those guys who like just makes a fucking video and then fuck. And then he does the whole animated thing like real life lore or Kurtzbell do. Not Kurtzbell, the shit. Fuck.
But yeah, there's a lot of people talking about real estate bubbles and this type of stuff. I mean, then again,
Holy matter, that was the YouTube channel. It's his video called "Why 50 Million Chinese Homes Are Empty."
Oh yeah, and by the way, I love the fact they still have those ghost cities, which
Yeah, that's literally it. It's smoke and mirrors. Like he's actually done a lot of videos on China, like Huawei, how Apple is basically hypocritical. Well, Apple sucks.
Oh yeah, and that worries me because if that's too if China can do this little funny dance and everything, they can be more authoritarian and such, and that stuff shit goes downhill and bam, this could be a lot worse and war and
I mean, it's not just that. There was some shit floating around the last week about how Huawei, the big Chinese tech company, helped set up a North Korean phone system, like inter-regional phone line for cell phones and shit, and basically violated a shit ton of international sanctions against the country by importing a lot of stuff.
Well, not surprising. And
neither am I. It's just one of those things, and then they're just denying anything about it. I saw a video on that earlier.
Of course.
China's a fucking... North Korea is a defanged dog that thinks it's got bite. China is a fucking bear. That metaphor, actually, considering that's what we also call the Russians, but...
Yeah, and I worry because, all the tariffs and all this stuff. I'm like, the old saying, don't poke the bear. And, well, guess what we have in the White House now? He just loves to do that stuff.
He'll run up and kick the bear in the dick.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to really, because, China's not one of these other like little Middle Eastern countries that could just say, oh, we're not going to, we'll say stuff and say around, but, we win the day. But China has not only 6 billion, people and such, and not only has the entertainment world.
It's got like 1.3 billion.
Yeah.
And most of the Chinese film industry is actually not in China. It's in Hong Kong. Like the big tech shit, like all their companies are stationed in the city of Shenzhen, which is actually fairly close to Hong Kong.
Oh yeah, and not only that, but billions of Chinese, and you have the entertainment in a vice grip, and then not only that, they have nukes. So good luck trying to be all this type of
Yeah, because it's China, so the government at the end of the day is the majority shareholder in every company.
Yeah, and they treat their workers like crap, and it's just going.
Workers' rights is a suggestion, not the law.
And if then China does collapse, you want to talk about even a worse situation. Not only having all this stuff collapse, because a less focused civil war, something happened like that in China is not going to be good for anyone. I mean, they're going to have to pull back, and well, let's just say no one's going to really be watching movies and such. So there goes the entertainment industry. And then after that, well, all the other stuff too. So I really don't think that this is going to end, not just again. And trust me, don't think the United States ain't looking at this stuff and just, be like, yeah, we're going to look at this stuff in the future. Don't think they're not looking at this stuff too.
Oh, no, they're keeping a close eye on it. The funny thing, though, about the trade war was that at the end of the day, despite all the shit they send out, China is so underdeveloped that there's still a net importer. Meaning that if we put tariffs on a net exporter rather. So if we put tariffs on everything they sent out and they couldn't afford to pay them, they'd be fucked. Their economy would die right then and there. That's why the trade war I found to be so goddamn hysterical. Because there was no way, because we are a net exporter, which means we send out more. I'm getting confused and mixing up terminology. Basically, China gets more shit from the outside than they send out from the inside, while America sends more stuff out than gets in.
Yeah, even though some people it's the reverse because made America needs nothing, but no, there's a lot of things that are made in this country. Yeah, that is not really again, it's the media, that type of mindset there. that
Damn
sort of
dirty liberals and their damn dirty media.
Oh, but it's things have been hammered in, since since you probably were kids and such, But it's that type of when you look at what's going on with again China and what the rest of the world going through right now. It's getting a little bit, I'm gonna say a little bit scary what is going on because again, what is going to be the solution to this without, I hope it's not going to be any type of war or bloodshed because I don't think
Oh no, we would not win in a land war with China. If we were to invade, we wouldn't win.
No, I know that.
Like China is basically the one country with a more diverse terrain than America, and that's not even factoring in the Pacific Ocean in between us. And then that would also drag in North Korea, whose only ally is China, and then they would send their nukes flying in. Oh God, if we were to go to actual physical war with China, that's the most likely cause of World War III.
Yeah, and since everyone hates us and such, so yeah. And then not even getting into what the entire crapshoot of our United States politicians and everything else and such there. Because I don't even think if we did go to war, we're not even set up to do anything like that, with everything else being a huge dumpster fire and everything. So I don't know what else you can.
Oh yeah, no, it would be the next Vietnam. It wouldn't go well for us at all.
Oh no, it will not. And even fraction this country, and heck, maybe even let's fraction out this country, but all look at the world right now. With their divisive leaders in a PC type of look at. But I'm hopeful that it's not going to lead to bloodshed. I don't want this to lead to bloodshed, and I'm hopeful that it doesn't. I think the leaders realize that. They realize, like, if this gets too bad, there's there's a reason why MAD exists, mutually assured destruction. I don't think China wants to lose all the people or anything else, like a hail of nukes or same as the United States. So hopefully, whoever, after all this stuff goes in, that hopefully some people will say, look, let's not deal these, let someone who is actually some common sense prevail and try to just make sure that the people there in Hong Kong, and not just in Hong Kong but the rest of China, actually start questioning the government and actually in a peaceful sense, not overthrow, I don't know, but something of a shift in power, a shift in focus.
The funny thing about Trump being the president while all this is going down is that actually could not have worked out better for us. Because there's a reason that Trump is able to make headway with North Korea more so than any other president we've ever had. And it's not just entirely because the Kim regime is falling apart at the seams. It's because in East Asia, they approach politics the same way they do business, in that they're insanely cutthroat, and if you give an inch, they're going to take a mile.
Yeah.
And Trump has a shit ton of experience with working with East Asian businessmen. So he's just applying that exact same knowledge, and it's working out. That's why he was able to bring Kim to the table when Obama couldn't, or Clinton couldn't, or either Bush couldn't, Reagan, Carter.
Which is funny because I thought negotiation and, President Obama was a lawyer. Wasn't he a constitutional lawyer?
I don't know what he specifically focused in, but yes, he was a lawyer and a law professor.
Don't you think he could have just, actually get more deals or anything else done? But I honestly think none of them took him. I think honestly none of them took the North Korea seriously at all. They treated it like a joke, and Trump's just like, no, fuck you. We're getting this done whether you want it or not. And then would have continued on with Hillary and whoever is going to be. Exactly. Again, Hillary, I don't know. And then whoever I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe Bernie could have done something, but most of the Democrats hate him, or the ones on top hate him. Why would the socialist want to say? Why would the socialist want to stop a communist utopia? The communist utopia. I have no idea, but again, as long as he's around, I don't think the Democrats will ever even come close to coming together and such and actually doing anything. Oh yeah, that's the exact reason that the Democrats are pretty much guaranteed to lose in 2020. They don't have anyone to rally behind. Their best bet is probably Joe Biden. And no one likes Joe Biden. Yeah, he was up there and then boom, went down so quickly. And I'm like, and then you look at what Bernie, and then you have I like the fact that people right now are saying that Tulsi Gabbard or Andrew Yang are like, oh gosh, they're the dangerous candidates. They're the K. I'm like, they're doing this. This is like 26. It's the sequel to 2016. It's like they are going to push everyone away, and then when they lose, oh goodness, when they lose, it is going to be so much more salt, so much more blame, and not any chance
That's
of
why they
deflection.
have their superdelegate system. It basically ensures that no matter who actually wins a primary, the people who want the candidate, the Democrat Party to win, is going to win. That's why Republicans don't have it, but the Democrats do. Because the Republicans, say what you want about them, like, okay, we lost, let's go back to the drawing board. Republican or Democrats, we're 3 years in and they're still going on about my Russia and not my president.
Yeah, if they really, I mean, say you want AOC, at least she's like, okay, here's a Green Deal, something here that we can do something that can unite people and stuff. But even then, the established Dems, they again, like Nancy Pelosi and all the people and corporate stuff, they are not liking her. Maybe because it's the AOC dethroned the person that Nancy Pelosi was grooming for, like, the person.
It has nothing to do with the fact that AOC dethroned Joe Crowley, who was the candidate you mentioned, by the way. No, the fucking simple problem is that that the people like AOC, like Ilhan Omar, they don't step in line at all. And it's biting the Democrats in the ass because they're saying all this stupid radical bullshit. Like, yeah, AOC was going on about the conditions in the ICE detention centers. Do you know who refused to vote in favor of giving those same detention centers aids? Detention center aid? Because I can tell you right now, it wasn't Nancy Pelosi. It wasn't any mainline Democrat. It was people like AOC who were refusing to give them the financial aid they need to not have terrible conditions.
Well, yeah. And then again, it's that again, these two, the party is legitimately splitting up. It's like the reverse thing people said about the Republicans years ago, saying it's a completely collapse. And I don't. It seems like the Democrats are going to either, split apart in this huge messy divorce, or I would not be surprised. And again, we have gone way off topic, but this is politics, and it's all connected here about how confusing and frustrating it is, ladies and gentlemen. But it is, when you look at what these two, I would not, the squad, or what people calling them, or what they're supposed to say. I would not be surprised if that, like a year from now, they might get so pissed off, they might say, screw it, we might just start our own party. And I would not be surprised by that, because it seems like they're getting so angry at, they're, but say what you want about Alexandria Ocasio. She's doing the same playbook what Trump did. If you look what she's and getting people upset in the political spectrum, Twitter, YouTube, and all this stuff, she's getting in people's faces. I'm like, that's what you Democrats need to do. And I honestly said this to people around, and people can hear me. I'm like, she's going to be the next president because she knows what it is. She knows what the game is now. Trump knows what to do, but most of the Democrats are still going the same old stuff. They're doing the same old thing.
The problem is, I don't think that she even has a chance, because not only are Democrats potentially playing, or rather New York planning to get rid of her district potentially, but also at the same time, Trump is basically making her and Omar and the face of the Democratic Party, and making them look terrible by comparison, because these people do not know what they're on about.
Well, again,
they don't know how to play politics.
Well, in some places they do and they don't. But I think at the end of the day, they are tired of the old Democrat way of politics. And when you have with Trump, Trump, the whole send her back, the crowd saying that stuff, which again shoots it in the foot, gives them more power. Again, it divides, it destroys. And meanwhile, you have no one sitting there actually getting true criticisms, true type of things actually against the squad or whatever. And then Trump, it's all based on emotion, which is, to me, the main problem. It's like there's too much emotion, not someone saying, okay, here's the things bad and wrong. Let's see, immigration. Let's look at it, figure out what's the issues here, fix it, and make sure. I don't think even a wall is necessary. I think you just need to just shut down, go after visa and all this stuff, because that's what it is. They overstay their visas. Stop, and also most of the businesses that Trump is affiliated with, they hire illegal immigrants. If you cut that off, they won't be here, that sort of thing. But that's not gonna be there. That's not here or there. But if you want, but that's the thing about immigration, about how you can really do that. But that's a lot of money and a lot of power. And most of those politicians, about people who are, I heard this good quote, and I think it's something really is like, government is business is the shadow of government. And it's just, when you have these big businesses out there, they are not letting know that cheap workforce go. I mean, they can go into other countries and do it, but like, no, it's cheaper to stay here and just basically, mine those forces and everything else. But that's a long, it's different stuff. And but got off topic. But yeah, China is this stuff here with the gaming and everything. Back to that. Remember that after that for 15 minutes ago. But yeah, it seems that it goes without saying that China is getting more and more authoritarian, and it uses the entertainment medium not just to cut things down and such, but also to monitor and to make sure the tabs on its citizens. And if this stuff continues, I worry. And if it does have a big housing crisis fall, you're gonna have a lot of angry people, and angry people with no entertainment. What do you think they're gonna put that anger and energy to?
I'd rather not find out.
Yeah. But hopefully, man, now I just wish I was just talking about the pro wrestling stuff for 30 minutes so, because that would seem fun and less world destructively. But sometimes you have to look into the stuff here and talk about it and get into the roots into it, and hopefully find some type of way to get out of these type of talk about these stories, get encouraged debate and such. But with that, I think I'm going to end it right here. Well, because this is a great way to end the show.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here, man.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Walking Deadpan. I will see you at the, was it Black Shepherd Games or the Cheshire? Which one of those Discord rooms you're in or whatever? We'll hang out
I'm
there
in both.
Later, right? Yeah,
I
same
bounce
here.
around between a lot of shit.
All right, I will see you later, man. Thank you so much for being here.
No problem.
But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the show. Thanks so much for watching. This is Dukect here. Peace and love. I'll see you when I see y'all
See you,
later.
Duke.
Peace.